Hi, everybody. My name is Sean Cargill. I'm one of the instructors for the South Seattle College Aviation Maintenance Training Program. We teach students how to work on aircraft, fix, maintain, and service them, keep them flying safely, and to prepare them for their FAA oral and practical exams to get their certificates to be a mechanic, and then to help prepare them for getting a job and succeeding in that career after they complete the program. It is a 2-year certificate program with the possibility to transfer that credit into an associate's degree or an associate applied science transfer degree. We're located at the South Seattle College main campus. There's a pretty little sky aerial view of it. To get into the program, you need to take either a placement test if you haven't had any previous college before. This is something you can schedule through academic advising. If you have prior college level math or English, you can transfer those credits to get into the program. Or if you've completed math and English classes at other Seattle colleges, you can also transfer those credits to and be able to enter the program. The fun thing about this program is you learn to fix things, not just airplanes, but you develop a lot of practical, useful skills, the ability to take things apart, put them back together, use the tools, work safely in a shop, work around others, read the manuals, think for yourself. We teach a lot of critical thinking. And this training offers a lot of other career options other than just working on airplanes, going to work for the airlines. That's kind of the first thing that everybody thinks about. Oh, aviation maintenance, I'm going to go work for the big airlines. But there are many other aspects of aviation that a lot of people don't think about, such as general aviation, helicopters, firefighting, the engines, manufacturers such as GE, Rolls-Royce, or CFM. Some people go to work for Boeing on the flight line. A lot of people go to work for big maintenance facilities like ATS up in Everett. Some people will go work for corporate aviation like Duncan Aviation or Modern Aviation at Boeing Field. No prior technical experience is required. We teach you everything you need to know. I'm a great example of that. I didn't really know that much about working on anything. I never worked on my car very much when I went into the program. I just knew I liked airplanes a lot, and I signed up for the first class and fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since. And we teach you everything you need to know. And this experience can be applied toward an AAS or AS2 degree, as I mentioned before. Here's a couple of examples of what our shop looks like. The picture on the left is some of our engines. The students get to put their hands on running engines. They do the maintenance on them, the inspections, the service. They push them outside, start them up, and make some noise. If things don't work, then we troubleshoot it and find out what's wrong with it, and then we fix it. The picture down on the lower right is a picture of our Boeing field facility. We have about 6 airplanes down there. Most of them are in running condition. The students are responsible for maintaining them, inspecting them, servicing them, pushing them outside on the ramp, and starting up the engines, making sure all the systems work. We get to take some field trips. The picture on the left is a field trip we took to Delta Airlines hangar at SeaTac Airport. And the picture on the right, down lower right, is some more students working at the Boeing field hangar, working on our 172. A little bit more about the program. The day in the life of the program, of a student in the program. When you're there, it's a full-time college level intensive program. We have a lot of information we need to impart on you, to deliver to you in a 2-year period. So that makes them for some pretty long days. Our program either runs 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. or we have an evening class from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. It is a 17 credit class, runs about 9 weeks every quarter. So we get about 3 to 4 weeks off between quarters. We do run through the summertime. So it's 8 quarters for over 2 years, 4 quarters a year. So we run through the summertime. The average week is about 1 to 2 days of lecture or discussion in the classroom, talking about whatever subject we're talking about that week. We usually break things down into bite-sized week-long segments. So we cover one section for about a week, and then we test you on it, then we move on to the next section. So you'll spend about 1 to 2 days in the classroom and then 3 to 4 days in the shop, being able to work with the tools, the equipment, the airplanes, the engines, the apparatus. We have tests about every week or so. And most students also work full-time. So it's not uncommon for a student to come to school full-time and then get off work and then, or get out of class and go right to work, or they'll be working graveyards and come to class in the morning and go home and sleep, or they will work in the morning and then take a class in the evening. So it's something that you have to work your life around, but it can be done. Most people find a way to get to do it. Here's a summary of what the program looks like. So here's the breakdown of the 8 quarters in the program. AMT 111 up at the top. This is where everybody starts. Let me see if I get my pen here. Let's do a highlighter. So AMT 111, this is where everybody starts. Everybody comes in through AMT 111. This is a basic science for education class. This is where we give you the basics of the basics. This is where we build the foundation upon which all the other information you're going to learn is built. We go over basic physics, aerodynamics, how airplanes work in general, basic flight control surfaces, names of the parts of the airplane, the documentation you're going to use, materials, processes, corrosion, tools. We talk about tools a lot, hardware. Gosh, there's a lot that happens just in your first quarter. Then you move on to AMT 112. This is all electricity, all day, all the time. So if you don't know anything about electricity, you will after this class. We start with the basics of what is electricity? What are some basic terms that we use, some basic concepts, and then we build upon those so that you can go from knowing nothing about electricity to being able to read a wiring diagram, troubleshoot a circuit, use the multimeter, use the tools, and fix an electrical system on an aircraft, be able to remove and install the component, replace the wiring, install the wiring. We talk about standard practices for wiring as it applies to aviation and aircraft. Then after that, you can move into either the airframe side of things. So this is the airframe side. It starts with AMT 113. This is where we talk about the structure of the airplane, talking about bedding and forming sheet metal, doing sheet metal repairs, composites, transparent plastics. We do about a week of welding. We also talk about wood and fabric aircraft. So anything having to do with the structure of the airplane and how it's built, then we cover that in 113. Then you move on to 214, which is everything that goes inside the airplane, all the hydraulic systems, fuel systems, pneumatic systems, oxygen systems, cabin pressurization, environmental control systems. That's all covered in 215. Ice and rain protection, that's where you're getting into working on the guts of the airplane. We have a big Jetstar aircraft, which we can put up on jacks. We can swing the landing gear up and down. We have the steering system that works, the thrust reversers and the flight controls all move. Those are all hydraulically actuated. So the students will plug in the hydraulic system, turn that on, and troubleshoot and operate all of those systems. After 214, we go into 215, advanced airframe. And this is kind of where we put all the structure and system stuff together. We get into flight control rigging, airframe inspections, regulations, documentation, fire control, navigation, radios, instrumentation, advanced aerodynamics, a little bit of helicopter physics. And then after 215, after this one, you can take your first set of tests with the FAA to earn your airframe mechanic certificate. And that certificate is good for life. You get a little green card in the mail and it's good for life. It doesn't expire, ever. After you finish 215, you move on to 133 over here. And this is the power plant or the engine side. This is 133. This is where we start talking about everything having to do with the engines. Engine overhaul, remove and install, how a reciprocating engine works and how a turbine engine works. That's mostly 133, is just what happens on the inside of the engine. Take one apart, put it back together again. 234 is everything that bolts onto the engine to help it work. You got the fuel systems, ignition systems, oil systems mostly for reciprocating engines and for turbine engines. Then you also get into a little bit of ice and rain protection as well. 234 is a really fun class. You get to do a lot of work. This one, in this class, you get to take the engine stands, take some components apart, put them back together, leak check it, function check it, push it outside and run the engines. And then if you did your work properly, the engine will work. It's a really fun class. 235, advanced power plant, just like on the airframe side, that's kind of a capstone class where we take everything that you've learned before and put it all into working on the engines. We get into engine inspection, remove and install, troubleshooting, fire protection. What else do we do? Propellers. We spend about 2 weeks on propellers. We cover both reciprocating engines and turbine engines. We spend about 3 or 4 weeks down at Boeing Field in some cases, working on our airplanes down there, making sure those engines are running properly. If you see look in the middle here, these are the classes that you need to take in addition to your AMT classes if you want to earn an associate's degree. The Psych 240, the English 107, and an elective, a 9-credit elective, will get you an AAS degree. To get an AST degree, you also need, I think, English 101, and I'm not quite sure what the other class is. You'd have to talk to the academic advisor about that one. But there's one other class. I think it's a math 101, math 100. I think you'd have to take in order to get your transfer degree. So here's a lot of the things that I mentioned before. Here's all the things that you're going to learn or be exposed to, in addition to many other things. There's a large quantity of information that's going to be delivered to you in the 2 years. You'll be amazed at how much you learn in 2 years in our program. We have 3 hangars at the main campus in West Seattle. We have an engine hangar, and then we have a sheet metal and hydraulic systems hangar, and then we have just another hangar with a couple of aircraft in it that we use for troubleshooting and inspections. We have 6 more airplanes down at Boeing Field, most of which are in running condition. We try to keep them that way, and we use the students to keep them in running condition. We put you to work. And then we have a whole hangar full of reciprocating and turbine engines, which you work on in your power plant classes. We have a quite experienced cadre of instructors, with most of whom have some industry experience, myself included. We are all licensed A&P mechanics. We have some experience. Some of our instructors have come from the airlines. One of our instructor was a mechanic at United Airlines for 20 years. I was in general aviation for 7 years, working at Ace Aviation in Renton Airport. One of our newer instructors has been working on corporate aircraft and was an instructor at Everett Community College's A&P school for a while, and he just moved down here. We also have IBES support, which is, I can't remember what it stands for, Basic Education something. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically a second instructor in the class for the 111 and 112, the first 2 classes, that helps students with study habits, some of the vocabulary. Because there's such a large volume of information in the first 2 classes, there's a second instructor in there who helps the students process all that information, form study groups, form study habits, to help them succeed. And we've seen a really large positive feedback from having the IBEST support in our classes. We've had our retention has gone way up because of that. Our graduates have gone on to pursue successful careers in the following areas, and many, many more. Some of them, a lot of them actually go to work for Delta. This picture up on the right, there's 4 students who all currently work for Delta while they're in the program. Delta Airlines, they pay for their employees to go to A&P school. So a lot of these guys, they were working in the cabin maintenance department, and some of them have already gone on to have jobs as mechanics on the line at SeaTac Airport working for Delta. Other students go on to work for Alaska, Horizon, United Airlines, Omni Air International, just to name a few. They go to work for helicopters. There's air tours in Hawaii and up in on the islands. Working for firefighter companies down in Oregon and Eastern Washington. The energy companies, the hydroelectric companies, and the oil companies need people to operate and maintain their helicopters to service oil rigs and run the transmission wires. General aviation schools, flight schools, there are quite a few of those that people don't realize around here, not just around here, but also around the country. Everybody's hungry for mechanics. This is the great thing about this industry now, is the industry is hungry for aircraft mechanics. Students are getting jobs right out of school. They're getting offers before they even finish the program in some cases. You can go to work for Boeing, you can go to work for corporate aircraft companies, some of the really nice corporate jets like the Learjets, Bombardiers, Dassault Falcons, Hawkers, Beechcraft. You go to work for the engine manufacturers. GE has a really awesome engine facility out in Pennsylvania, which I would love to go work for someday if I ever get the opportunity. That seems like a really cool place. Elevator and escalator maintenance. We've actually had recruiters for elevator companies come to our college looking for people who are interested in going to work on elevator maintenance because they recognize the skill set that students get by coming through our program. Amusement parks, you want to go work for Disneyland and maintain all the amusement park rides down at Disneyland, be an Imagineer, go do that. There are A&Ps working on the light rail. All this light rail work going on in the Puget Sound area right now, there's a job opportunity for you. So going through this program opens up many, many doors for you. Some common questions that may or may not be in your head at the moment. How much does it cost? Approximately $2,000 per quarter for an in-state resident, but there are many tuition assistance, financial aid, workforce funding, scholarships, and grants that are available. Most of our students take advantage of those to help them pay for their schooling. What kind of tools will I need? You don't need to come with any tools on day one. A tool list will be provided for you on the first day of AMT 111, and you'll talk about tools in that class. As you go through the program, you'll be given additional tool lists and opportunities to talk to tool vendors, to buy tool kits, get student discounts on tool sets. And the more you work with the tools, the more you learn about the tools that we need, you'll have a better idea of what you need. If you just come to school with a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, a set of combination wrenches, a 3/8 drive socket set and a 1/4 drive socket set, that's a good place to start. If you have to take some time off, depending on where you are in the program, it can be easy to rejoin the program the following quarter, or sometimes you may need to wait a couple of quarters before the class you need is offered again. We do run in cohorts, so usually the same group of students is running through the program at the same time. So everybody who starts in 111 usually goes through the program, both branches, airframe and power plant, for the most part, all together as one cohort. Because we are an FAA approved program, the class schedule, the hours for the classes are not very flexible. We don't offer any other class times other than 7 to 1 or 2 to 8. If you can't be there for those times, we aren't able to give you full credit for the class at all, because you have to have so many hours in class recorded per the FAA regulations. So that's one of the kind of hurdles to getting into the program, is trying to be able to find the time to carve out in your life to make that happen. You are allowed to miss up to 3 class days, up to 18 hours per quarter, which is made up at the end of the quarter. If you're not sure if this is for you, learn some more about it. Come on down to the hangar, ask for a tour, talk to the academic advisor. You can contact me. I'd be happy to talk to you some more about what we offer at the program. If you sign up for AMT 111, just to see what it's like, just take a class. Come to AMT 111. Just even if you take AMT 111, does not obligate you to register for the other classes and take the rest of the program. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do, you'll be hooked. There's no harm in trying it out. Another good thing to do is talk to other students. If you know somebody who's in the program, talk to them, ask them about it, ask them what it's like. We've got quite a few pictures here. There's some more students working on the engines. Hopefully some of these will entice you to want to come into our program so you can get to do some of this fun stuff too. Down at the bottom is a picture of our Lancer. It's a turboprop we acquired from the Air Force. They didn't want it anymore, so they gave it to us, and that thing runs like a charm. We get to push that thing out. There they are, hooking the ground power unit up to it, and they're going to sit in the cockpit and start the engine. There are some engines students up on the top left servicing the ignition system for the Learjet that we have down at Boeing Field. On the right, students are inspecting the fuel systems for the 2 PT6 turboprops on our King Air, which both run. Down in the middle on the bottom, our students are installing the flaps and rigging the flaps on our one of our 2 Beechcraft twin Bonanzas. And this is an example of a sheet metal repair that 2 of the students did to one of the doors. This cable that this rod is connected to, this cable pulled out of the door, and the door failed, basically. It came apart. And the students were able to fabricate this piece right here out of just plain old aluminum. They took a piece of stock aluminum, bent it, heat treated it, installed it, and fixed the door. So that's the kind of stuff you can look forward to, and when something breaks, you get to fix it. These students here on the upper right, they took this engine that was leaking, had a failed cylinder, had all kinds of problems, and they removed all 6 cylinders, replaced the gaskets, and I think they replaced a helicoil in one of the cylinders, and got the thing into much better running condition than it was before. Down on the right, one of our students is working on fabricating a wing for the twin Bonanzas. We took some just stock aluminum and some plans that we came up with, and we're fabricating wings, ailerons, flight controls for the twin Bonanza. And down on the left, lower left, is an engine that has been sitting for years. It hadn't been run for years, and the students went through the work to inspect it, service it, leak check, function check it, to make sure that the ignition systems, oil systems, and the fuel systems all worked properly. They pushed it outside, and it started up and ran beautifully. First time in years. Students did that. And here's some more students fabricating the another aileron section. So doesn't that look like fun?